Okay, let's go.
Okay.
Let's leave your house.
We're going to leave and we're going to go to the dollar store and we're going to get notebooks for podcasting.
Do I need to lock this?
Oh, yeah. I've got a key.
Okay, bye, house.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day.
That's all fine and good. Mm-hmm. I'm just more curious about what it was like for you to be a Christian and then not be a Christian.
Yeah.
Because I think that you're not giving enough credit to the fact that you partially left the church because of the fact that you didn't get healed.
Hi, I'm Emma.
I'm Arielle. And we have nothing to look forward to. Still to this third episode.
Mm-hmm. This is the second episode.
I mean the second.
Mm-hmm.
What are we talking about today?
Today we're going to talk about healing, the healing power of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Not just Jesus Christ, because we can't give him all the glory and honor and fame.
We can't.
No. We're also going to talk about healing cures that have been imposed upon us and or told to us. Because when you're told you have a disease, the first thing you want to look up is, what is the cure for this disease?
How do I fix that? How do I get through this in a way that I can control it? Guess what?
What?
We can't.
We can't.
No, because
There's no cure.
There's no cure for either of our diseases.
MS has no cures, has no... No, it does have treatment.
It has treatment, yeah.
MS has no cures.
Correct. There's treatment that you can participate in that helps to slow the progression of the disease.
Right.
But it doesn't heal any of the damage that's already been done. So anything that has happened to me, any demyelination is the correct term, that's happened in my brain or on my spine is now permanent.
Okay.
I won't be able to remyelinate.
Yeah.
Anything on my, my nerves can't remyelinate. So what damage has been done has been done.
Yeah.
Is there treatment for you?
No.
Okay.
There's no cure, no treatment. There is a lot of studies going on with stem cell research where they inject
you mentioned that.
stem cells into your eyeball, and then it's supposed to regenerate your retinal rods and cones. But they're all in trial phases.
Can you join a trial? Can you, or do you want to?
I am in a database currently where if I ever qualify for a trial that's happening, then they'll contact me. But I currently don't qualify for it.
Oh, because you're not blind enough?
I'm not blind enough. I've gone through genetic testing. My parents have gone through genetic testing, so they have all of our information.
Oh, okay. So
but you need to be a very specific, age, sex, location, ASL. Right. Who knows?
Okay.
I don't qualify for it yet, though.
If
I do, they'll let me know.
So we want to start out this episode with Emma is going to give her testimony.
Oh, yes.
Hallelujah.
The word of the Lord.
The word of the Lord. I mean, we're already starting off really strong here. Emma, would you come to the front and give us your testimony?
I've been waiting my whole damn life for this moment.
But in all seriousness, I want you to tell me, what have you done to try to heal yourself?
So I spent about 2 years doing tests with a retinal specialist just to get a diagnosis. At that point in time, I was still a Christian, a believer of God and Jesus. I was still a part of a community church. I was still on staff at that church as well.
Okay.
And I spent the first year in denial. I was thinking that if God has chosen this route for me, then there must be a way out of it. So I think my way of trying to heal was being in denial, because I was hopeful that if I prayed and believed hard enough that it would go away. I really believed that.
And what made you think that that was true? What made you think that if you prayed hard enough that would happen for you?
Growing up around evangelical Christians who used prayer as the solution for everything.
So that was the mechanism you were taught was, because
if something is wrong, you pray and you ask for it to be different.
Right.
And if there is no result and it doesn't get better, it's because you didn't believe enough that it could. So thankfully, I didn't have a ton of people around me that were trying to, lay hands on me and heal me. I never had that experience.
Okay.
People were very respectful
Right.
and sensitive because the people that I surrounded myself with were good Christian people.
Good Christian folk.
Yeah. After the first year, I was still a Christian and I was starting to become more comfortable with my diagnosis and posting a little bit of stuff on Instagram about like, hey, this is the journey that I'm on and this is what's happening to me. And then I was starting to get some messages of like, this is so sad. I'm so sorry. I can't even imagine this happening to me. I'm praying for full healing of your eyes. I hope that God performs a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're getting messages like that, I felt like, oh, this is nice. These people are thinking of me.
Mm-hmm.
But I also was seeing zero result. Like,
right. You're like, all these people are telling
all
me
these
they're doing
people
this
are
thing
thinking
for me.
about me and praying for me, why, when I go to my eye appointments, things are getting worse? Not that my eye disease and my diagnosis led me to my disbelief in God, because there was 100 other things that were happening.
Right.
But it did sort of confirm what I was already feeling and believing, that maybe I don't want to be a part of something where I have to believe so hard for something to happen, for it to happen.
Well, even the fact that you interpreted that as though you had done something wrong.
Exactly.
That's really fucked up. That like you think because I haven't believed enough or prayed enough or done this enough, therefore I am part of the reason for my degenerative, incurable disease.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I got to a point where that exhaustion and that trying to believe that this was going to work and seeing it not work, that exhaustion wasn't worth the belief for me anymore. I just thought, okay, maybe it's not working because it's not real and not because I'm doing something wrong.
What was it like for you to, like when you first had that realization? Because that feels like, to me, that would be a weight off.
It was.
You get like released of this responsibility that was never yours to begin with.
Yes. Well, first I felt freedom. I felt like, okay, now I can just go about my life and not feel like I have anything to blame for this. Like, this is no fault of my own. After a while, once I saw how much better I was doing when I released mentally, I started feeling guilty that I was doing better off without God.
Ooh.
Because I've grown up in a culture that told me that God is everything I need. And as soon as I took that out of my equation and I was doing better, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing something wrong. Like, I'm doing better without God. What does that say about me? It felt like I was being a little naughty, you know?
Yeah, I do know what you mean.
But as I've moved through that, it's been 3 years since I've left the church. I feel so empowered to be making my own decisions, to not have something external to blame for this other than, some
your disease,
bum cells that developed in my body.
Which isn't your fault. Like, I think that's something that is hard enough to remember on your own, that your disease didn't happen to you because of something that you did, regardless of whether it's not praying enough or your body is just doing this thing.
Totally.
And that's hard to come to terms with, because I think we feel so responsible for our own bodies, just like existing in the world. It's like, I'm the only one that can control this, so there must be a reason for why this can't be controlled.
I'm mad that I spent like 30 years of my life believing in something that I now no longer believe in. And not to say that that was a waste, because I do think that I gained a pretty good internal compass and some good values. Like, I'm a good girl. I've been a good girl. And I can probably attribute that to going to church and learning some nice things. But then also the amount of guilt and shame that I have experienced in my life, I can also attribute to church and the belief in an external force determining and deciding everything that I do and have done and will do.
What I think about sometimes is like people who are healed. Remember you were talking about people who are healed of cancer, and then they get a diagnosis, and then it turns out that it's not cancer, or they go in to check to see how their cancer is progressing and they're suddenly in remission.
Yeah.
What's really interesting to me is that like if someone didn't believe in God, that would happen because of science. That would happen because it just happens that sometimes
that just happens.
Cancer goes into remission because of how it operates as a disease.
Personally,
right?
I don't love that God gets all the credit for shit like that.
Well, yeah, I think it's problematic.
Yeah.
I think it's hurtful, and I think it's damaging.
Yeah.
And I think we don't give that enough credit. That like the fact that, first of all, using this narrative that this like guy in the sky is the reason why things are happening that are good for you is, it doesn't explain why it doesn't happen when you need it, like in your case, right? It makes you think that there's something wrong with you or you haven't done something enough.
So that is what's called unfalsifiable. So it's like there's always an out in this belief system where it's like, if it doesn't happen the way that you want it to, it's because God has a different plan for you, which makes it seem like it's not able to be proven wrong. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like there's always a reason that the Christians can explain why God didn't do something for you.
And usually it has to do with something you didn't do.
Exactly. Or that God has a different plan for you and you need to accept that and you need to be more patient.
Which
and
again is still about like
He will give you an answer. He will give you an answer, but it may not come when you want it to be.
Yeah.
But it's just like, what if things are just happening and we're a part of it and that can just be that? Let's get the door open here for you.
Thank you. Sorry.
There have been a few anonymous strangers on the internet that have pissed me off.
Oh yeah, didn't you have some lady who like said to you, if you please God, he will heal you because God is our doctor?
Yes. So I have a TikTok at Emma Driftwood on TikTok. And for about 2 years now, I've been posting just about my experience of going blind, just little tidbits of like, here's how I pour my water. And here's what it felt like to, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I had somebody comment on a video that was just like my vision loss story or some bullshit like that, where she said, do not say that you're going blind. God is our only healer, and he will heal you if you just please him. And that made me laugh at first because is that really what you believe? But maybe it is. Maybe it is really what she believes. There's such a hopelessness with a diagnosis that has no cure.
Because you realize that you literally have nothing
else
to look forward to other than dying before your friends die. Well, in my case. But life expectancy for people with MS is like 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Less than I would live 5 to 10 years.
I thought you were about to say 5 to 10 years from now, and I was like,
no,
you should have told me that before we became friends.
No, I'm not gonna die in 10
I
years.
would have been out. I'm not.
Like, we're not doing this.
Can't handle that heartbreak.
Can't have this friendship. No, it just means like if you die when you're 85, I'll die when I'm 80. Or if you die when you're 75, I'll die when I'm 65.
That seems reasonable.
Anyway.
Yep.
All that to say, we need to find things to look forward to. And being healed of something is the most tantalizing thing. It's like...
It's not something we can hold on tightly to.
But we want to so badly. It's like I have seen number of naturopaths, of naturopathic medicine people. I did see an absolutely kooky naturopath when I was living in British Columbia. She...
A witch?
No, you know what? Witches don't deserve her. Like she was... I like witches. But she literally in our first appointment together said, we're going to cure your MS. We are going to heal your MS.
Claim.
Through
a bold opener.
Like through doing all of these particular things. She was like, I worked with a woman who was in a wheelchair and is no longer in a wheelchair and now walks. She was doing things like she would line up compact discs, like actual CDs across both of my forearms.
Like a CD from a Walkman?
Yes.
Hold on.
My forearms. And she would be like, and these are picking up the frequency of your disease and doing something with the frequency. And then each CD was like naming a different thing happening in my body. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, what? Like, I literally was sitting there, arms wide in front of like her desk. And she had lined up like 7 CDs on both of my arms. And I'm like, I am literally paying $400 to see this woman.
Whoa.
And she even prescribed me a drug while I was there and sent me home with it. We'll have to look this up. It's a drug that people take to like come off of another drug. That's kind of like an example of my experience with someone saying, this will heal you.
Yeah.
This is a form of healing.
Yeah. And at that point, you're like, might as well try.
Yeah. And there's a lot of that. Like, there's a lot of that, I think, with degenerative diseases that you're like, what can hurt me more?
Yeah, let's give it a go.
Yeah, what can hurt me more than getting worse?
Oh, yeah. Praying about it was not hurting me. I was just, maybe emotionally a little bit. But
well, clearly it was because you took on the responsibility of it. Like,
you're right.
Mentally, you were like, I'm somehow now responsible for the eradication of this disease. All of the people who do those things for us are not seeking ill intent.
Nobody really knows what to do with the uncomfortable feeling of having a diagnosis that has no cure.
Yes.
And so therefore that is the thing that they know to offer. And I would rather you be in relationship with me and know that I'm not a Christian anymore, and maybe that wouldn't be a helpful thing for you to do. So I had an experience where somebody who I had not been in relationship with really at all in my life, but knew of them, but hadn't talked to in about 15 years, send me a message just letting me know how sad it made them feel that I am going blind. And the thought of if that were to happen to them and not being able to see their children. And yes, these are all things that I think about. It is very sad that I may not be able to see what my kids look like as they get older.
What's funny to me is when people reiterate the things that are so obvious about it to you. Yes. It's like, why are you reminding? I don't know if people think about that. And maybe that's just because we live with it. We're like, we think about this 24/7. Like you said in the other episode, we literally wake up to say,
oh, yeah. Yeah.
So why would you mention all of the sad things while also giving a sentiment of, I'm praying for you.
Oh, yeah.
I'm seeking healing for you.
Yeah.
Also, can you remember all these things that will never happen to you? Like once you won't be able to see your kids, like you're not going to be able to see.
Oh, yeah. For somebody to send me a message like that I have not talked to in 15 years and then go on to say, have you looked into seeing a specialist or flying somewhere to get a surgery? And if so, can I send you money? And like for them to feel like that's something that makes them uncomfortable, they're doing something about. Maybe it would be more helpful for you to offer me a ride because I can't drive because I'm blind.
Right.
Or maybe it would be more helpful for you to ask me what would be helpful rather than just sending me a note saying, I feel bad for you. I'm praying for a miracle.
Yeah, sitting in the reality that you can't fix something for someone is very uncomfortable.
Totally.
Especially if you truly love them.
But
this person didn't truly love you.
No, because they also don't know me or where I'm at in my life right now. So I just sort of responded like, thank you so much for thinking of me. This is the disease that I have. It is incurable. I've seen all the specialists that I can. There's no surgery. You don't need to send me money.
One of the things that
or you can, and I'll buy myself lunch. Like,
yeah, give me your money.
Yeah.
I'll get myself a nice sandwich. That's great.
One thing I would like to say about the asking the hard questions and the sensitive questions, and I need to give kudos to one of my best friends because she waited a long time to ask me the question, do you ever think about how hard it's going to be when you can't see your kids?
But you are in relationship with that person.
I'm in relationship with her and we've talked about this and she's a support person to me, wants to know how she can help me and still waited 2 years before she asked a question like that. Now, you don't have to wait that long, but I have so much respect for the way that she has approached that because not everybody wants to talk to a stranger about the worst thing that's happening to them. And maybe you should ask first. Is that what I'm trying to say?
I think it's also interesting because there's a weird mental load thing that happens when you have to be apologetic for someone who's crossed the line in supporting you, if that makes sense. Like someone is trying to offer you help and in offering you help makes you work. And the audacity of that, the arrogance of that, and how much that makes us have to be like, thank you, I appreciate that. Like, it's really kind of you.
Yeah.
And it's hard to not only be the one with the disease and then to like make it safe and okay for someone else to be around us with our disease.
Yes.
And the only comfortable thing they know
their
how to do.
uncomfortability with
it.
it.
Yeah. That comes out when all of this stuff is happening.
Yeah.
Like all the goodwill in the world
can't
fix the fact that we're already disabled.
Yeah.
Every day we get worse. And now I have to make it a comfortable environment for you to exist with me.
Yeah. You never know. Disability is such a wide spectrum and you never know where people are at in their journey. And why not ask them specifically as individuals what they need rather than assuming prayer, money, food, all of these things are going to be helpful for that specific person.
It's really hard to choose when we accept our own version of healing too. Like you said, people are finding a way to interact with the fact that we are not going to be normal. And that we are going to have to say to them one day, oh, actually, I can't get up.
Yeah.
Or, oh, actually, I need more than just hiking poles.
Yeah.
Or I actually can't see you anymore.
Yeah.
Like that's going to happen. And
we need to be able to pivot with ourselves and with people
really quickly.
Yeah. And that's not to say that we can't open ourselves up to strangers. Like,
yeah, we can take anybody's money. We'll take anybody's money. Let me just reiterate that. If you want to give us money, we will take it. And we will not put it towards
our healing.
No. We will put it towards our debauchery. We will take your money and we will put it towards whatever we want and whatever gives us healing.
Yeah.
I think we also need people reminding us of that. That would be healing for both of us. Is we need to be reminded that we get to be the masters of our own destiny in this kind of scenario. And we need that reminder not only because I forget, but because it's hard to feel confident in your own disease.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And we're new at this.
We're still new. You're right. We're
still baby disabled people.
Beginners at this.
I don't know if I can say that.
Baby disabled people. I mean, we're not technical babies, but we're fresh disabled.
Freshly disabled.
We're freshly disabled.
Yeah.
Narrow is the road to glory. Perdition's gates are broad and wide.
So what are you looking forward to?
I really want to hear from other people about this episode. And that's probably just my own insecurity because I know we've kind of like dabbled in some worldview stuff. And so I feel insecure and I need to know that everyone's okay. Is everybody okay? That's like what I'm looking forward to. That's the first thing I'm looking forward to. How are you?
You're so kind. I care less about that.
That's okay. One of us can care more.
Yeah.
And I'm also looking forward to our next episode, which will include our spouses.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. We have two very incredible partners who have been supporting us from the day of diagnosis and before and after.
I'm excited to see them share in the vicinity of one another what it's been like for them. Because I don't know if they've actually had a chance to talk about it.
I don't think they have.
And so
you'll be hearing it first.
I can't wait. How are Jesse and Dave doing with having disabled wives?
Poor guys.
What are you looking forward to?
I said the same thing.
No, but remember what you're actually looking forward to?
Oh, nothing.
For the narrow road to glory's worth the price.
Okay.
It says OMG.
This says OMG. And it's fluffy. I do like the textural feel of this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, are these our podcast binders?
They might be.